Hello, and welcome to this professional training on copywriting, one of the most valuable skills in modern marketing and communication. Whether you want to write persuasive ads, powerful website headlines, or engaging social media posts, the ability to write copy that moves people to act is absolutely essential. My goal today is to give you a strong foundation in copywriting. Not just theory, but practical methods you can start using immediately after this session. This training is designed especially for beginners. So if you've ever felt unsure about where to start, what makes good copy, or how to write something that truly connects with people, you're in the right place. By the end of this video, you'll understand what copywriting really means, the mindset behind persuasive writing, proven formulas you can follow, and techniques used by professionals in the industry. So let's begin. Let's start by answering the most important question. What exactly is copywriting? A lot of people think copywriting simply means writing, but it's more than that. Copywriting is not just about putting words on a page. It's about choosing the right words that inspire action. If you've ever clicked a Buy Now button, subscribed to a newsletter, or felt persuaded by an advertisement, you've already experienced the power of good copywriting. Copywriting is often described as salesmanship in print, and that definition still holds true today, even though we're no longer limited to print. Whether it's a website, a social media ad, or a YouTube video like this one, the principle is the same. Copywriting is the art and science of using words to persuade people to take action. The key word here is action. Every line of copy is written with a goal in mind. Maybe the goal is to make someone click, to buy, to sign up, or simply to believe in an idea. So copywriting isn't about being clever or poetic. It's about being clear, purposeful, and strategic. Now, let's compare it to general writing. A regular writer might focus on creativity, description, or storytelling. Their goal is usually to entertain or inform. A copywriter, on the other hand, focuses on results. Their writing has a measurable outcome. It either converts or it doesn't. Here's a quick example to make that difference clear. Imagine two versions of the same product description for a simple item like a water bottle. Version 1. This water bottle is made from stainless steel and holds up to 500 milliliters. Version 2. Stay hydrated all day with a bottle that keeps your water cold, your hands dry, and your day running smoothly. The first version gives you information. The second version gives you motivation. It connects to your daily experience. It tells you why it matters. That's the heart of copywriting. So in short, copywriting is not about decoration. It's about connection. It's not about words for the sake of words. It's about using language as a tool to bridge the gap between what a brand offers and what a person wants. When done right, copywriting feels effortless. The words don't sound like they're trying to sell you something. Instead, they sound like a conversation, one that understands you, your problem, and your desire for a solution. And that's why every brand, every marketer, and every entrepreneur needs to understand copywriting. Because no matter how good your product or service is, if you can't communicate its value clearly, people won't see what makes it special. In this training, I'll show you how to use copywriting to make that connection stronger, to write messages that not only attract attention, but also move people to take meaningful action. Now that we've defined what copywriting really is, let's take the next step and talk about the foundation of all great copy, understanding your audience. Section 2, understanding your audience. Now that we know what copywriting is, let's move to one of the most important foundations of effective copy, understanding your audience. If you remember just one thing from this entire training, let it be this. Copywriting is not about the writer, it's about the reader. You can have the most persuasive words in the world, but if they don't speak to the right people in the right way, your message will miss the mark. Think about it this way. Copywriting is not a one-way speech. It's a two-way conversation, except your audience doesn't talk back. So it's your job to know them well enough to anticipate what they think, feel, want, and fear. When you write copy, you're stepping into their world. You're entering the conversation that's already happening in their mind. So how do you do that? Let's break it down into 4 simple steps. Step 1. Identify who you are writing for. Start by asking, who exactly is this message meant for? Don't just say everyone. If you write for everyone, you'll connect with no one. Get specific. Are they business owners, students, parents, or fitness enthusiasts? Are they beginners who need education or experts who want shortcuts? The more specific your audience, the sharper your copy becomes. For example, imagine you're writing for people who want to lose weight. If you say, this program helps you lose weight, that's generic. But if you say, this program helps busy parents lose weight without spending hours at the gym, suddenly your audience can see themselves in your message. That connection is what makes your copy powerful. Step 2. Understand their pain points and desires. People buy for emotional reasons, not logical ones. Your audience doesn't want a product. They want a solution, a transformation, or a feeling. So ask yourself, what are they struggling with right now? What frustrates them? What do they secretly wish was easier? And then look at the flip side. What do they desire most? Do they want to save time? Make more money? Feel more confident? Have more freedom or peace of mind? The best copywriters don't just sell a product. They sell the feeling people want to have after using it. Here's a quick example. Let's say you're writing for a budgeting app. A weak version would say, track your expenses easily. A strong version would say, finally feel in control of your money without giving up your lifestyle. See the difference? The first talks about the function. The second speaks directly to the reader's emotional goal. That's the kind of language that turns attention into trust. Step 3. Learn how your audience communicates. The best copy sounds like it was written by your audience, not for them. To do this, listen to their language. You can find it in reviews, comments, discussion forums, or social media posts. Pay attention to the exact words they use when describing their problems or dreams. Those words are pure gold for your copy. For instance, if you're writing for small business owners and they often say things like, I'm tired of working long hours and still not growing, you can use that exact phrase in your copy. It tells them, I understand you. And when people feel understood, they're more open to your message. Step 4. Build empathy, not assumptions. Don't assume you know what your audience needs. Find out. Talk to real people. Ask questions. Read feedback. Empathy is what turns ordinary writing into persuasive communication. When you genuinely care about helping your reader, your copy reflects that. Because the truth is, great copywriting isn't about manipulation. It's about alignment, aligning what you offer with what your reader truly wants. So, to summarize this section, know who you're writing for. Understand their pain points and desires. Speak their language. Write with empathy, not ego. When you do this, you stop writing from your own perspective and start writing from theirs. That's when your words stop sounding like sales pitches and start sounding like solutions. And once you master this connection with your audience, everything else in copywriting, the formulas, the headlines, the hooks, becomes much easier to create. Now that we understand our audience, let's move on to the next part of our training. The psychology behind why people take action, and how you can use that knowledge to write more persuasive copy. Section 3. The psychology behind persuasive copy. Now that you know who your audience is, the next step is to understand what drives them to take action. Copywriting isn't just about putting nice words together. It's about understanding people, how they think, what motivates them, and what emotions influence their decisions. In short, great copywriting is built on psychology. If you can understand why people buy, why they click, and why they say yes, you can write messages that truly resonate. Let's explore a few core psychological principles that every professional copywriter uses. Principles that make your words more persuasive without ever feeling pushy. 1. Emotion drives decisions. Here's something you'll hear over and over again in marketing. People buy with emotions first and justify with logic later. That's not just a saying. It's backed by science. Research in neuroscience shows that emotions play a critical role in how we make decisions. Think about your own experience. When you buy a new phone, a pair of shoes, or even a course like this, the decision probably starts with how it feels. Maybe it makes you feel more confident, more capable, or more in control. Once that feeling takes hold, your brain starts justifying the decision with logic. Things like it's good value or it's worth the investment. As a copywriter, your job is to tap into that emotional connection first. Don't just tell people what your product does. Show them how it makes their life better. Use emotion carefully and honestly. It's not about manipulating. It's about understanding what your audience truly cares about and connecting your message to that feeling. 2. Clarity builds trust. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make in copywriting is thinking that sounding impressive will make their writing more persuasive. In reality, the opposite is true. People trust what they understand quickly. If your message is confusing, they'll lose interest. But if it's clear, simple, and direct, they'll keep reading. So clarity is not just a writing skill. It's a psychological tool. When your copy is easy to understand, it gives your audience a sense of comfort and confidence. They feel that you know what you're talking about, and that makes them trust you more. As the saying goes, a confused mind never buys. So always aim for clarity over cleverness. 3. Social proof creates confidence. Humans are social beings. We naturally look to others for validation, especially when we're uncertain. That's why social proof is so powerful in copywriting. Social proof means showing that other people have already trusted, used, or benefited from what you offer. This could be through testimonials, case studies, customer reviews, or even statistics like trusted by 10,000 businesses worldwide. When readers see that others have had positive experiences, their fear of making the wrong choice decreases. It's the same reason we check restaurant reviews before booking a table or read product ratings before buying online. Social proof says, you're not alone. Others have done this and it worked for them. So whenever you can, include it. It builds instant credibility. 4. Urgency and scarcity motivate action. Even when people want something, they often delay taking action. As copywriters, part of our role is to help them act now rather than later, not by tricking them, but by giving them a real reason to move forward. That's where urgency and scarcity come in. Urgency creates time pressure. For example, offer ends tonight or early bird discount ends in 24 hours. Scarcity highlights limited availability, such as only 3 spots left or limited edition. These techniques work because they appeal to a deep psychological instinct called fear of missing out, often shortened to FOMO. But a word of caution, these tactics only work when they're genuine. False urgency can damage trust. When used honestly, though, they help people make decisions they were already considering. They simply needed a little push to act. 5. Reciprocity builds goodwill. Here's another psychological trigger that often gets overlooked: reciprocity. This principle says that when you give something of value first, people naturally feel more inclined to give something back. In copywriting, this can mean sharing a free resource, a helpful guide, or valuable insights before asking for a sale. It builds goodwill, trust, and credibility. Think of it this way. When your audience feels that you've already helped them, they're more open to what you offer next. That's why so many successful brands lead with free education, trials, or useful content. Because giving value first creates connection. Visuals. Presenter gestures gently. Tone softens to emphasize sincerity. So to sum up this section, emotion drives decisions. Clarity builds trust. Social proof creates confidence. Urgency motivates action. Reciprocity builds goodwill. When you combine these principles, you're no longer just writing text. You're guiding human behavior in an ethical and meaningful way. This is what separates average copy from persuasive copy that truly converts. Now that you understand the psychology behind persuasion, let's move on to the practical side. How to structure your writing using one of the most effective copywriting frameworks ever created, the AIDA formula. Section 4. The AIDA formula. Now that we've covered the psychology of persuasion, let's look at one of the most practical and reliable tools in copywriting, the AIDA formula. AIDA stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. It's a simple yet incredibly powerful framework that helps you structure your writing so it naturally guides your reader from curiosity to commitment. This formula has been used for over a century in advertising and marketing. And the reason it's still around today is because it works, whether you're writing a social media ad, a sales email, or even a YouTube script like this one. Let's break it down step by step. 1. Attention. The first step is to grab your reader's attention. We live in a world full of distractions. People are scrolling, clicking, and multitasking constantly. So if your opening line doesn't stop them, your message will never be read. In copywriting, your headline or first sentence is the hook. It's what makes someone pause and think, this is for me. You can capture attention in several ways. Ask a powerful question. Share a surprising fact or statistic. Make a bold statement that challenges common beliefs. Here are a few examples. What if I told you your website could sell for you while you sleep? Most businesses lose 70% of potential customers before they even read the first sentence of their site. Each of these openings does one thing. They make the reader stop and want to know more. That's the job of attention. It opens the door. 2. Interest. Once you've caught their attention, the next step is to hold it. This is where you build interest by talking about a problem, a pain point, or a desire that your audience already feels. Think of this part as saying, I understand your situation. Let's continue with our earlier example. After saying, most businesses lose 70% of potential customers before they even read the first sentence. You could follow with, and the reason is simple, unclear messaging. Visitors don't immediately see how you can help them, so they click away. Notice what happens here. You're describing a real problem that your audience recognizes. That creates connection and keeps them engaged. You can also build interest with storytelling, facts, or examples that make the reader feel like you get what they're going through. 3. Desire. Now that they're interested, it's time to build desire. This is where you show how your product, service, or idea solves their problem. You want to paint a picture of a better future, what life looks like after they take action. If we continue our example, you might say, our copywriting course gives you the step-by-step system to write messages that attract attention, connect emotionally, and convert readers into customers, even if you've never written professionally before. Here you're not just describing what the course is, you're showing what it does and how it feels. That's the difference between information and inspiration. To build desire, focus on benefits rather than features. Features tell, benefits sell. Use sensory and emotional language that helps the reader imagine the transformation, feeling confident, in control, successful, or relieved. 4. Action. Finally, we come to action, the most important step. All the attention, interest, and desire you build will go to waste if you don't clearly tell people what to do next. A call to action, or CTA, is what turns good copy into effective copy. Be specific. Don't just say, learn more, or click here. Instead, guide your reader. For example, enroll today and start writing copy that sells. Download your free guide now and begin mastering persuasive writing. Book your strategy session and take the first step toward better results. The clearer and simpler the action, the higher the response. And remember, every piece of copy should have one main call to action. If you give too many choices, people freeze and do nothing. So, to recap, grab attention, stop the scroll. Build interest, speak to a real problem. Create desire, show the transformation. Inspire action, guide the next step. That's the AIDA formula. It's simple, it's timeless, and it works for nearly every type of copy you'll ever write. Once you start applying AIDA consistently, you'll notice your writing feels more natural and more persuasive because you're leading your reader through a logical and emotional journey. In the next section, we'll build on this by talking about the difference between features and benefits, and why understanding that difference is key to writing copy that truly connects and converts. Section 5. Features versus benefits. Now that you understand how to structure your copy using the AIDA formula, let's talk about one of the biggest shifts that separates beginner writers from professionals: the difference between features and benefits. This simple concept can completely change how you approach your writing. So what's the difference? A feature is what a product is or what it has. A benefit is what that feature does for your reader, how it improves their life or solves their problem. Let's start with an example. Imagine you're selling a smartphone. You could say, this phone has a 50-megapixel camera. That's a feature. It's factual and technical. But if you say, capture every moment in vivid detail, even at night, now you're speaking in benefits. You're showing how that feature makes someone's life better. People don't buy products because of what they are. They buy them because of what they do. They buy the outcome, the feeling, or the transformation that product brings. Here's another quick example. Let's say you're writing about an online fitness program. You could write, our app includes 100 workout videos and a nutrition tracker. That's informative, but it doesn't connect emotionally. Now, let's turn it into benefits. Lose weight and feel confident again with simple workouts and nutrition plans designed for busy people like you. See the difference? The first version lists features. The second speaks to the reader's goal, their dream, and their emotional motivation. That's what makes copy powerful. To help you think like a copywriter, use what professionals call the so what test. Every time you describe a feature, ask yourself, so what? Why should the reader care? For example, this laptop has 16 gigabytes of RAM. So what? It runs faster. So what? You can open multiple programs without slowing down. So what? You save time and get more work done easily. That final version, saving time and working efficiently, is the real benefit. That's what your audience truly values. So keep asking, so what, until you reach the emotional reward behind the feature. Here are a few more quick examples to make it clear. Instead of saying 24-hour customer support, say get help whenever you need it, so you never feel stuck. Instead of saying waterproof design, say enjoy peace of mind knowing your device works even in the rain. Instead of saying lifetime access to the course, say learn at your own pace, without any pressure or deadlines. Notice how each one focuses on feelings: comfort, freedom, security, or peace of mind. That's what benefits do. They turn dry information into human connection. Here's something I want you to remember. Features inform, but benefits inspire. Features appeal to logic. Benefits speak to emotion. And emotion is what drives people to act. When you write copy, always focus on what your reader gets out of the product, not just what the product has. When your writing becomes about them, their needs, their desires, their transformation, your copy starts to feel natural, persuasive, and authentic. That's the shift from talking about things to talking about people. Now that you understand how to turn features into benefits, we can move on to the next step: practical writing techniques and tips. In the next section, I'll share professional methods you can use to make your copy clearer, more engaging, and far more persuasive, no matter what kind of content you're creating. Section 6. Writing techniques and tips. Now that you understand the difference between features and benefits, it's time to get practical. Let's talk about some real-world writing techniques and tips that will help you create copy that feels professional, persuasive, and authentic, even if you're just starting out. You see, copywriting isn't just about what you say. It's also about how you say it. The words you choose, the rhythm of your sentences, and the way you structure your message all have an impact on how your reader feels. So in this section, I'll share some proven techniques that professional copywriters use to make their writing come alive and connect deeply with readers. Tip 1. Write like you speak. One of the most common mistakes beginners make is trying to sound too formal or corporate. But here's the truth. Good copywriting sounds like a conversation, not a lecture. Imagine you're explaining your product or service to a friend over coffee. You'd use simple words, short sentences, and natural tone. That's exactly how you should write. When your writing feels personal and easy to follow, people trust you more. Here's a quick test. After you write something, read it out loud. If it sounds strange or robotic, rewrite it until it feels natural, like something you'd actually say. Tip 2. Keep it clear and simple. Clarity beats cleverness every time. Many new writers try to sound creative, but the goal of copywriting isn't to impress, it's to express. Avoid long sentences, complicated words, or jargon. Instead, focus on clarity. If your reader has to stop and think, you've already lost them. Use short paragraphs and simple language so your message flows smoothly. Remember, you're not writing for yourself. You're writing for someone who might be reading your words on a small phone screen while multitasking. Make it easy for them to get your point quickly. Tip 3. Use power words. Power words are emotionally charged words that trigger curiosity, excitement, or urgency. For example, words like discover, instantly, proven, exclusive, simple, or free tend to grab attention. But use them carefully. Don't overdo it or you'll sound so easy. Instead, sprinkle them naturally to emphasize your key points. Power words make your writing more vivid and more memorable. They make your sentences pop. Tip 4. Focus on you, not we. This is one of the most important mindset shifts in copywriting. Most beginners write from the company's point of view. We offer this, we believe that our product does this. But your reader doesn't care about you. They care about themselves. So shift the focus. Instead of saying, we help businesses grow, say, you'll grow your business faster with our simple system. That small change from we to you makes your copy instantly more engaging. It speaks directly to the person reading. The word you is one of the most powerful tools in all of copywriting. Tip 5. Create rhythm and flow. Good copy has rhythm. It's not monotone or flat. Vary your sentence lengths. Mix short, punchy lines with longer ones. Add pauses, questions, or statements that keep your audience hooked. For example, want to write copy that sells? You can. And it starts with understanding what people truly want. See how that rhythm pulls you forward? It keeps you reading. That's the power of flow. It turns plain text into a conversation that feels alive. Tip 6. End every piece with a purpose. Every piece of copy should guide your reader towards something. A next step, a realization, or a decision. Never end your writing without giving your reader direction. It doesn't always have to be a hard sell. Sometimes your goal might be to build trust, encourage reflection, or prepare them for what's next. But always know your goal before you start writing. Because when your copy has a purpose, every sentence becomes stronger and more meaningful. So to recap, write like you speak. Keep it clear and simple. Use power words wisely. Focus on you, not we. Create rhythm and flow. Always write with purpose. These are the foundations that will help you sound confident and credible, even as a beginner. The more you practice these techniques, the more natural they'll become. You'll start noticing the difference in your tone, in your message, and in the way people respond to your writing. Now that you know the key writing techniques, let's move on to the next part. How to craft a powerful headline. Because no matter how good your copy is, if your headline doesn't grab attention, people won't read the rest. In the next section, we'll dive into how to write headlines that hook, connect, and convert. Section 7. How to craft a powerful headline. Now that you understand how to write clearly and persuasively, it's time to talk about one of the most important parts of any piece of copy, the headline. Your headline is the very first thing people see. It decides whether they keep reading or scroll past. In fact, studies show that 8 out of 10 people will read your headline, but only 2 out of 10 will read the rest of your copy. That means if your headline doesn't grab attention, your message is lost, no matter how good your content is underneath. So how do you write a headline that hooks people immediately? Let's break it down into a few key principles. 1. Be clear, not clever. Many beginners make the mistake of trying to sound creative or mysterious in their headlines. But the truth is, clarity beats cleverness every single time. A confusing headline pushes people away, while a clear one pulls them in. For example, instead of saying, reinventing your morning routine, say, wake up earlier and get more done without feeling exhausted. The second one tells people exactly what they'll get, and that's what makes them want to keep reading. Your headline's main job is to make a promise that feels relevant, specific, and valuable. 2. Speak directly to the reader. Just like in your copy, your headline should focus on them, not you. Use words like you, your, or your business. These instantly make the reader feel involved. For example, how you can double your sales in 30 days. 5 mistakes that are silently killing your website traffic. Notice how both examples speak directly to the person reading. They feel personal, almost like a conversation. That's exactly what you want your headline to do. Make the reader think, this is about me. 3. Use numbers and specifics. Numbers add credibility and structure to your headline. They make it sound real, not vague. Compare these two. Tips to improve your writing. 7 simple tips to improve your writing today. The second one feels more concrete and more actionable. People love lists and specific results because they promise something clear and measurable. 4. Create curiosity. While clarity is important, adding a touch of curiosity can make your headline irresistible. Curiosity makes people feel like they need to know more. You can do this by asking a question, teasing a result, or revealing a problem. For example, the one copywriting mistake that's costing you sales. What happens when you stop selling and start listening? Both of these spark curiosity while still being clear about the topic. 5. Focus on benefits, not features. Just like the rest of your copy, your headline should highlight what the reader gains, not what the product has. For instance, instead of saying copywriting course for beginners, say learn to write words that sell, even if you're starting from scratch. That version focuses on the transformation, not the tool. It speaks to emotion, not just information. 6. Test and refine. Even the best copywriters don't always get it right on the first try. That's why testing your headlines is so important. Write at least 5 to 10 versions of every headline before choosing one. Change a word, a number, or the order, and see how each one feels. Sometimes a small change, like adding today or without stress, can double your engagement. Copywriting is a process of refinement. The more you test, the more you learn what works for your audience. So to summarize, a great headline is clear, specific, benefit-driven, and often sparks curiosity. It talks to the reader, not at them. It promises value. And most importantly, it makes people want to read the next line. Because that's the real goal of the headline. Not to sell the whole story, but to open the door so your message can do the rest. Now that we've covered everything from understanding your audience to crafting headlines that convert, it's time to bring it all together. In the final section, we'll wrap up this training with a quick recap and a few professional insights to help you continue improving your copywriting skills every single day. You've just completed this full beginner's guide to copywriting, and I want to say congratulations. Let's take a moment to bring everything together. Copywriting is more than just writing words. It's about understanding people, what they feel, what they need, and what drives them to act. We started by defining what copywriting really is, the art and science of using words to persuade and inspire action. Then we explored how to understand your audience, because great copy always starts with empathy. We went over the psychology of persuasion and learned about the AIDA formula: attention, interest, desire, and action. The structure that helps you lead readers step by step toward decision. You also discovered how to turn plain features into powerful benefits that connect emotionally. We talked about writing techniques that make your copy sound natural, engaging, and authentic. And finally, we looked at how to craft headlines that instantly grab attention and make people want to keep reading. These are the core foundations of professional copywriting. And here's the truth: the more you practice, the better you'll get. Copywriting is a skill that grows over time. Every ad you write, every email, every headline, it all adds up. So keep learning, keep testing, and most importantly, keep writing. If you found this training helpful, please take a second to like this video. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people who want to learn just like you. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future lessons on copywriting, marketing, and digital communication. And if you learned something valuable today, share this video with a friend or colleague who could benefit from it. Also, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me what part of this training helped you the most or what topic you'd like me to cover next. Your feedback means a lot and helps shape the next videos on this channel.